Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Girl, Is That Legal? Oh, I need to talk into the mic. Girl, Is That Legal? With your host, attorney Symone Redwine. Yes, I am a real lawyer. I've had a lot of new followers. I'm excited, new subscribers this week after the Jennifer Williams video where I revealed that it looks like her fiance, Jennifer Williams from Basketball Wives, that her fiance might actually be scamming her. Thanks for tuning in. Go ahead, hit that like button as you join and that subscribe. That allows others to know to come on in here too. So let me know in the chat where you are viewing from. Now, today's episode, and on Sundays, we're going to do episodes that I'm going to call Sunday Service. As attorneys, we are obligated every year to provide what we call pro bono service. Now, this is a take on that. With pro bono service, it's basically helping the less fortunate or providing discounted legal work. And I think for my state, you're supposed to do approximately 15 hours. Needless to say, I do far more than that, but I figured this would be a fun way to do a live call-in show where people can submit their questions. I'm just getting adjusted here. People can submit their questions with the understanding we've got the disclaimer below, okay? So because I have to protect myself, y'all not about to sue me talking about you came on here, gave me 1/10 of the story and did whatever, and now you have an issue. So this is for entertainment purposes only. If you are in need of a lawyer, you always want to find one in your state that's familiar with your state's laws. And in addition, if you're in need of help, I may be able to help you get to a lawyer with the expertise in the areas of your choice. Also, make sure that you subscribe to, of course, this YouTube channel, but you can go to my Instagram as well. If you'd like to schedule a consultation with me, you can certainly do that there. You'll hit the link in my bio on Instagram in the link tree, and you could schedule on Calendly as well. I'm going to do a share screen. You can go to my website, which is SymoneRedwine.com. And here you can, here we go. You can also purchase my book, which is Background Checks 101, a beginner's guide to discovering who the heck you're dealing with. So literally in the book, I provide you with steps that you can use to perform background checks on people. And it's only, right now, I have a promotional price of $12.99. But it's going up to $19.99. And then also you can keep scrolling. Keep going. Oh, goodness. And you can come down here if you want to schedule a consultation with me. So I'd love to help in any ways that I can. And if I can't help, I can certainly get you to someone who can. Hey, guys. All right. I see Emerge in the chat. I see Anne Dumornay, not similar to Ava DuVernay. You're here from Connecticut. Okay. I used to live in Newark, New Jersey. That's about as far north. No. And then I lived in Ithaca, New York, of course, because I went to Cornell. Tam, you said, hey, fam, do we have a name for fans? Yes, I call them the paralegals and the jury. So let me correct. The jury is what I call like all of the people, all the viewers, y'all are the jury. And then if you join the membership, there are different levels, but it's my paralegals and my co-counsel. All right. Hey, Etha. Appreciate seeing you. All right. So we're going to get into the first question. Also, I did drop the link. It's pinned. So if you're watching from YouTube, you should say, your last name. You should see there's a link if someone wants to come on and ask a question. If not, this was a question that was submitted to me and it's got different levels to it. But I love when I get questions like this that are so similar to what I get asked on a daily basis. So I'm going to put this question up. I'm going to answer it. And then if we don't have any others, we can just conclude on that, y'all, because I got some stories I'm working on for you guys. Okay. This week, we're going to cover Drea, how Drea is suing her ex-boyfriend who is trying to evict her after she got pregnant with her new baby while living in her ex-boyfriend house. She felt like she should be able to stay. So we're going to break down that lawsuit, as well as here in Texas, in Houston, rather, there is a lot going on. The husband and wife who are co-owners of the Turkey Leg Hut have a lot going on. They've each made various statements. We're going to break down those statements, as well as some very fascinating legal documents that deal with their bankruptcy and their divorce. So she's filed bankruptcy with the restaurant. She's the only owner of the restaurant. He's not listed on the paperwork because, as he says, he's a convicted felon, and that's why he wasn't listed on them. And on the other hand, This is not his first marriage, this is his third, and he's got a lot going on there. So we'll be getting into each of those later this week. So stay tuned. Make sure you hit that subscribe. DJ Rack, I'm doing a great you're doing a great job. Thank you. You know what? You guys are so encouraging, and I really appreciate it, because I just realized I have to get out of my head and just do it. Just go. Hold on one second. I just got to get my charger, because it looks like my battery is fixing to die real quick. Who knows what y'all about to see in the background? Lord have mercy. What is this? All right. Oh yeah, this phone's about to be on 10%, and I am using it. Okay. All right. So the question that we have, let me know. Adjust this. All right. So the question that we have is: a married couple purchased a home about 15 years ago. The husband's name is solely on the mortgage. In what ways would the wife be able to keep the house if they both wanted the house? Who will be more likely to keep the house in this situation? Now, I'll tell you guys, this is a situation that has some domestic issues going on. So this was the question, but I actually had a phone conversation with the person that was asking this question, because you are allowed to be anonymous. There's no issue there. So I'm going to tell you a little bit of the backstory as well. So it's a husband and wife. They've been married for at least 17 to 18 years. He was a doctor. She was a stay-at-home mom. They're immigrants. So she really doesn't have an understanding of her rights. But with her being a stay-at-home person, a stay-at-home mom, and never having work, really her main thing is that she wants to be able to keep the house. Now, they bought the house during the marriage. However, he was the only one that ever paid the mortgage, because he was the only person with a job. She's terrified because he keeps telling her, I'm going to get the house. You're not going to get the house, blah, blah, blah. Now, this is Texas. And I'll say this. In Texas, well, in many places, the house that you've been in for the last 15 years, oh, and it's a paid off property with no mortgage. Let me tell y'all something. In the state of Texas, whatever that paid off mortgage situation, you're not going to be able to find anything even close to that. So the two partners, the husband and wife, are really duking it out over this house. He's like, I want this house. I paid for it all these years on my doctor's salary. And she's like, where am I going to live? And she's right. Because if you're used to, raising your children in a 6-bedroom home, blah, 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 that you kept up all these years so that he could go and get up and go be a doctor and be on call and do this and do that. Oh, hell to the no, I'd fight to the death too, because likely that's the biggest asset that you will have access to, right? So the first thing, though, that was surprising to me is I learned that with this couple that we're talking about in this example, she is living in the home. The wife is living in the home, and the husband was court ordered to leave the house. Oh, but when I heard that, I said, oh, we got a problem. I said, he was handsy, wasn't he? And the person that was calling said, oh, how did you know? I said, well, first, because I'm brilliant. But many people don't realize when you're in the middle of the divorce, that house is community property. Even if the other party owned that house before you lived there. During the divorce, a judge is not going to put the other party out of that house unless there is domestic DV. That's the only way. That's also why sometimes you will see somebody lie, and say somebody put their hands on them really when they didn't, to get them out the house. Perfect example. Real Housewives. Croy and Kim. Croy and Kim, I forget their last name, but from the Real Housewives, she used to wear them crooked wigs that were synthetic all the time. Bless her little heart. They keep calling the cops on each other every week. It's because not only are they sick of each other, but they're sick of living together. And so he and she, they keep trying to get the other one kicked out of the house. Now, here's another example I'm going to share. Just this week, actually, here's a share. All right, just this week, Drew Sidora actually was on, there's an article about Drew Sidora on the Shade Room discussing this very thing. So Drew Sidora, she says that the ongoing divorce from Ralph Pittman is a worst case scenario because the couple still lives together. He stays in the basement and she and the kids are upstairs. The article states the actress recently revealed that by court order, she is required to allow her soon to be ex husband to remain living in their marital home and suggests that he's holding up the split by attempting to take more from the marriage than what he brought. I'm curious if this house is one, but it also states reportedly Drew Sidora opened up about the matter during a recent interview after being asked how things have been going since she divorced her husband, Ralph Pittman, last year. It was filed for divorce. The divorce is not final. The 39-year-old shared that things haven't moved along much and that the two are still sharing one residence. She states, I'm still not settled. And yes, we're still living together under one roof. I didn't even know that could happen. I was like, what? But yeah, he's living in the basement, and that was court ordered. Continuing, Drew Sidora expressed her feelings that being forced to remain living together is ultimately hindering both of their ability to move on from the relationship, adding, they said, it'd be much easier if we were able to move on separately, out of sight, out of mind, with your own space and your own energy. But that's clearly not in the cards. So sharing space has been kind of a double whammy. We're kind of like the blueprint for a shit show divorce. All right. So remember, because the two of them filed for divorce back, I think that was last December, and they filed on the same day within hours of each other. All right. So let's stop this one. All right. So the gist of the point here, because we're answering the viewer question. Here's the viewer question. Basically, the wife has been a stay-at-home mom for over 15 years. They own a home together, and she's trying to get an idea of what is her likelihood of being able to keep the house. He is a physician. He does very well. Here's the thing. So many factors matter. The number one factor on whether you can keep the house, because this is community property. We've covered that. You bought it during the marriage. Does not matter that you never made a salary and you never put a dime toward it. See, here's the thing. This man has been violent towards her. So the court ordered him to get the hell out the house. That kind of man is going to mind screw you into thinking you don't have any rights. You're not entitled to anything. My number one piece of advice, play dumb. Play dumb. As long as he thinks you don't know your rights, or she, whatever your situation, as long as the other party doesn't think you know what's going on, you don't know your rights, they're not going to be afraid that you will assert them. Play dumb as long as you can, okay? As long as you can until you get the judge to order you to get what you're entitled to. So keep playing dumb. But also, in this situation with the wife actually being a homemaker and so forth, because the property is paid off, she has a really good chance of being able to keep the house. Here's why. He's still working. He is still working. He is making, high six figures. He can continue to work. He can continue to build his retirement, etc. She can't. She done been a homemaker for like the last 20 years. What's she going to get up and do now? Greet people at Walmart? I mean, come on. Furthermore, she has no job and hasn't. So she can't even qualify for another home on her own. And every state is not this way, but Texas, where this happened, takes into account fault. So if a portion of the reason for divorce is he's been knocking you across your skull, shaking you around the room, and or cheating on you, that would go towards fault. And a court could be likely to take those things into consideration and allow the woman, the female, to keep the house. Because the concern is, many people are like, well, could they force the sale of it? That can happen too. But what you would want is an attorney who feels confident fighting for you to keep the house. Because a lot of people assume you have to sell the house in a divorce. The hell you do. The hell you do. Look, the whole purpose of getting a house is we understand that properties appreciate, but also rents go up, but mortgages stay the same if you got a good one. So you want a attorney that feels comfortable making these arguments. And so that's why when you have a consultation, or if you reach out to me and say, I have a loved one going through this, can you help us find an attorney? I certainly can. And how it works is I use my network and my resources to ensure that, when you have your consultation, you have all the information that you need, but also you don't ever want to hire anybody who can't do what you're asking them to do. Too often, people will like go to a consultation for something like an attorney. They'll go to the lawyer consultation and they just vent about all the problems with their partner, but they don't say, can you help me keep the damn house? You need to be very clear on what you, because if that lawyer sits there in a consultation and they're like, well, there's something there. Now, nobody's going to make you, no good lawyer is going to give you a guarantee. That's fine. But they need to be like, you know what? Under the law, I feel comfortable making these arguments. I think these are strong arguments. I think that a judge in this county would be persuaded by this. Boom, boom. You want somebody ready to fight, WWF style, baby. We about to lay this smack down. You don't want nobody to be like, well, it ain't nothing worse than a scary lawyer. And if you do not ask the questions that you want to be asked so that they can give you the results, you're going to end up with a scary lawyer. I have a friend, sweetest pie, one of the top students at Cornell Law. That lady is the scariest lawyer. I was like, why do you represent the public? You should be doing tax law. You should be locked up in somebody's upstairs office, right? With a lock on the door. You should not be dealing with the public because you are too scary. I really don't know. She would make an excellent librarian. But for whatever reason, she just really thinks she wants to do family law. And I think it's a terrible idea with a U. But the moral of the story is, so if there's anyone else, the moral of the story is you definitely want to articulate what you want and what your goals are at the beginning of any attorney consultation. Here, this woman has a strong chance, at least 50-50, I would say, if not stronger, to get the house due to the fact that it's paid off. Now, if the house was not paid off, that's different. When the house is not paid off, what the court takes into consideration is, can you even pay the mortgage, whatever the mortgage is? Now, this person would be entitled to alimony because of the length of their marriage, etc. So your alimony can be used to pay down the house, etc., etc. But all that has to get taken into consideration. Yeah, I be the shit. Yep, locked up. She need to be upstairs. Ain't nothing worse than a scary lawyer. Scary lawyers, like, go be a librarian, go work for the government, go work in a back office, but do not be in here fighting for people's freedom, fighting for people's lives, and you're too scared to make the arguments that need to be made. So, let me see if there's anything else. The guy's name. Oh, the other issue is, oh, baby, it says the husband's name is solely on the mortgage. It doesn't matter. In fact, ladies, single ladies, if you can find a man dumb enough to allow you, I won't say dumb enough, but if it could be dumb enough, but if you can find a man that would allow himself to be on the mortgage and then you're on the deed is what matters, guys. The deed is who determines ownership, including, now, most mortgage companies today will not let you be on the deed if you're not on the mortgage, but it varies. If you can find a mortgage company that is okay with your man buying a house where he's on the mortgage and you're on the deed, here's what that means. They can't sell that house out from under you without notifying you. They cannot foreclose on that house without notifying you and giving you a chance to pay the back money and all that kind of stuff. So the fact that the wife's name is not on the mortgage is irrelevant because her name is on the deed. The deed determines ownership. The mortgage determines who credit could get effed up by not paying the mortgage. That's all. All that means is her credit will never be affected by what happens with the mortgage. For that reason, when you see a property, though, that still has a mortgage, all right, y'all, listen to this. Send this video. Anybody you know who is thinking about divorcing or is in the middle of a divorce, here's what they need to make sure they understand. If there's a mortgage on this, right? Let's say the mortgage initially had both parties' names on it or whatever it is. Like, I have a relative. The mortgage was in his name. Let me give you that example. But she got the house. She was batshit crazy, such that he was like, I don't want nothing. She can have it. I'm gone. Problem was, his name was still on the mortgage. So the two of their names were on the mortgage, but his was not removed. Here's the problem is when you get a divorce, all that is required under the law is that, so divorce will have an order that says you got to refinance it into your name within a time period. So let's say 6 months, 9 months, whatever. You want to make sure that whoever's supposed to do that does that before the divorce is final, because the standard is a good faith effort. So if you give the house to your wife and she hates you like this crazy lady did, she hated my relative, she never made a single payment. That was back when you could not make a mortgage payment and like foreclosure would take like 2 years. She ends up getting foreclosed on, but it messed up his credit because she never refinanced it out of his name. What happens under the laws in a divorce, whenever it says whoever's supposed to refinance, you just have to make a good faith effort, which means if you go to a bank and you try to get a loan to refinance it and they say, no, you don't qualify because your credit is screwed up, that's good enough. The court can't force you to get a loan that nobody will give you. You see what I'm saying? So for that reason, courts generally, whoever's name is on the mortgage, if it's only one of the two, they'll usually give that house to that person. Or the person whose ever name is on the mortgage is the one that wants to fight for it because they're the most concerned about their credit. And that's for good reason, because hypothetically, if there's a mortgage, let's say the mortgage is only in the husband's name, the house goes to the wife, she don't have to pay none of it. Now, yes, it will get foreclosed on and she'll be put out too, but it's messing up his credit, not hers. And people know that. So I think that's all we've got for today. It looks like we don't have anyone else that has written in with a question. If you have any final thoughts or final questions, let me know. If not, in the comments below, please let me know what topics do y'all want to see next. Oh, and if you haven't caught my video breaking down how Jennifer Williams' ex-fiance is scamming her, make sure you tune into that. Hit that like, hit that subscribe on the way out. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next Sunday for another episode of Sunday Service with your host, Attorney Symone Redwine.